Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dave's Math channel. I'm your host, David Tare, and this is my continuing feature on the Math Lovers book. And every Saturday, I feature the biography of another famous mathematician. In volume two of my book, at the end of volume two, I have a section on biographies of famous mathematicians throughout history. I feature 80 of them chronologically, and I'm featuring him on this channel as well on a weekly basis. I'm up to number 11 out of 80, and that one is Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. Try saying that three times fast. Anyway, he lived from around 780 to 850 AD. I don't think we know the exact years, but he was Persian, and he he's most well known for inventing algebra, at least algebra as we know it today. And the key feature of algebra, I think you guys all know. You probably all learned it in high school. The whole point of algebra is to solve for unknown quantities, which we call variables usually, and they're given usually letters as names because we don't know their values. So we solve for them, and usually we start with x, y, z are very common variable names we give, but we can give them whatever name we want. As a matter of fact, in computer science, variable names can be pretty long. But anyway, the point of algebra is that you apply these techniques. You kind of balance. The point is you. What another thing Ibn did besides introducing algebra, a method for solving for unknown quantities. You probably know when you learned algebra that you start with an algebraic equation. You're trying to solve for some quantity x. It usually doesn't, satisfy a simple equation, but you simplify the equation, and there's sort of four basic arithmetic operations you can do. You can either add the same quantity, subtract the same quantity, multiply both sides of the equation by the same quantity, or divide both sides of the equation by the same quantity. In other words, you can do the same operation to both sides of the equation. That's how you solve for a variable. That's how you do algebra. And we owe Al-Khwarizmi. We owe that method to him because he invented that method. And not only that, he actually was very prolific in a lot of the other ways as well. He apparently, I didn't realize this before, but he introduced the Hindu Arabic number system to the West around 820 AD. I don't know if it caught on. I think we also needed Fibonacci for that about 400 years later. I know that Western math was way behind math in Persia, I think, as well as India for most of the Middle Ages. Europe was suffering through the Middle Ages, also known as the Dark Ages, where there really wasn't much intellectual activity going on, including in math. But meanwhile, back in Persia, Al-Khwarizmi did his thing with algebra, and not only that, he did some other pretty amazing things too. The Arabic system involves zero. I think I mentioned Brahmagupta last time. He also used zero. That was in India. And he also came up with a general method for solving general linear and quadratic equations. I think the quadratic formula was known a long time earlier. I don't know if it was forgotten in the West. It probably was. Probably needed to be rediscovered in a lot of other cultures, but that is another thing he did. He figured out a general method for solving quadratic equations, and he also, worked with trigonometry. He came up with tables of the trig functions, the basic trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. So, pretty great mathematician, I'd say. And, there weren't a lot of really great mathematicians during the Middle Ages. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. There probably were a lot in the East that we don't even really know about because I think their work was kind of lost during the Middle Ages. A lot of it never came to the West. I understand there were several big Chinese and Indian mathematicians during the Little Middle Ages that hardly anybody knows about, probably because most of their work was lost. But fortunately, Al-Khwarizmi's was not. We owe algebra to him, and I'm glad we do. So that completes my profile on Al-Khwarizmi. I won't say his whole name since it's too hard to say, and I haven't memorized it anyway. But anyway, that completes my profile on al-Khwarizmi. Thank you for watching. Long live math, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.